From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hello and welcome to Around Foxborough, the show where we talk about the people, places, and things that make Foxborough the gem of Norfolk County. My name is Mark Rivard, and I am pleased to have as my guest today, Greg Kanelos. Welcome, Greg.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Tell us a little bit about Studio G. What is that all about?
So Studio G, I have been involved in the dance industry for, I'm 27, I would say 23 years. My aunt had a studio in Norfolk for 34 years, so I grew up dancing there. I did the whole dance competition experience, and then I realized when I turned 15 that I didn't necessarily want to make it my career, but I had a passion and a calling for choreography and teaching. I realized at a younger age that I loved that. I was always assisting in classes. So I said to myself, you know what, this might be something I want to do, but I was still on a different path with high school. So I went to Bridgewater State University and I got a degree in health sciences and business. So I decided after that, while I was in college, I was teaching for her and I was choreographing for her competition team. That's within those 5 years, that's when I really turned around and I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. But not only what I want to do, this is what I'm meant to do. So I always knew that teaching was a gift of mine, something that I'm naturally good at. I take pride in it. I love teaching all ages, regardless of the subject matter. Obviously, my subject matter is my strength, which is dance. But I enjoy watching a child, an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 17-year-old learn something for the first time and develop their skills and leave knowing something new.
That's the most important part of school right there. You're going to leave and actually know something. You can't just...
Right.
I mean, teaching is so important, and it's a good thing that you're doing it. I mean, you don't just teach dance, you also teach business too? And
yes, I'm a high school teacher, and I teach a course called Career Essentials, which is a junior senior class that focuses on almost everything you don't learn in high school. All the stuff that the kids need to know when they graduate. And even in the moment while they're in school, we focus on things such as employability skills, how to find a job, how to maintain the job, how to act professionally. I dive into financial literacy, checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, taxes, loans, etc. And then we focus on small business and entrepreneurship, which leads into the class I teach senior year, which is small business and entrepreneurship. So the kids at the high school level, which I love teaching, it's my favorite level to teach at, they take those classes seriously because they're like, hey, I need to know this. And it's a joy to watch those kids who, school isn't for everybody. Some kids love school. Some kids don't like being in school. So when you get that one kid that's like, school really isn't for me, and they get into that class and they're like, I love this class. I just learned all this. It's exciting to watch.
And those are skills that they don't teach everywhere.
Right.
I mean, I've been working in financial services for about 28 years, retirement plans. I've always thought that kids do not understand finance. They do not understand the life skills.
Right.
They learn math and they learn reading and they learn science and history, but they don't learn the skills that, okay, I'm going to be going into college possibly, or maybe I'll be going into the workforce.
Right.
How do I do this?
Right.
Mom and dad can show me, maybe an older brother and sister, but to actually learn everything while you're still young enough to actually put it into effect,
Right. And everything that they learn in high school is valuable. At some point, they will say, all right, once I learn this, I'm done. I'm never going to have to use this again, or I will use this down the line. But I think that should definitely be offered in schools, and it's not as much as it should be.
How's the reception from the kids? Do they really enjoy learning this? I mean...
Yes. I've been very fortunate to get, great groups of kids who value it. And I try to do it, and I translate this to dance too. Make it so they're not nervous for the future. And I'm very transparent with them. I tell them right out the gate in the beginning, I'm not perfect. I still have plenty of time left to learn and grow. But what I do know and what I've done, and I've done successfully, is what I teach them. And it's kind of cool too. It's almost like a level of respect because they know I'm doing it as well. So it's like, hey, Mr. K's doing this. I'm going to do it too. Mr. K opened up a high yield savings account. I'm going to talk to my parents and I'm going to get going in that. I actually had a student who opened up a 401k. And I was like, that's impressive.
That is impressive.
I just opened mine last year. So, yeah.
It's funny, you were talking to me before the show about the students who say, oh, well, do you have a house? I was like, well, not everybody can have a house these days. I mean, look at the market.
Right, at a certain point, right. So, but getting back to dance, it's nice because just teaching in general, my day is so different. From 7:30 to 2:30, I'm teaching. It's a different skill set. It's something that I have found another passion in. And then once 2:45 hits, it's Mr. Greg. So it's funny, I tell the kids, I'm like, I live a double life. I'm Mr. K from 7:30 to 2:30, and then I'm Mr. Greg from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock at the studio.
Living the dual life.
Right, but the kids also find a comfort in that and say, hey, you can work a full-time job and have a business. So that's also exciting too.
Yeah, and I'm sure that helps with the whole entrepreneurial training that you have a business and you can tell them, okay, these are the things I did right. These are the things I did wrong. These are the things I've learned.
Right.
It's a lot easier than just teaching out of a book.
Yes, correct.
Life skills.
Life skills.
So now we got to go back to the dance.
Yeah.
All right, enough with the schooling. Let's go to the dance.
Yep.
What type of programs do you offer there?
So currently, I'm in my 3rd year of business. I just hit year number 3. We have 2 programs. We have a recreational program, which I'm actually shifting that title to traditional program because there's such a stigma around the word recreation where, if your child's in a rec program, that they're not going to be good or it's not serious. And that's the complete opposite of what I run. And then there's a competitive program, which is in the works. Previously, I had 4 girls who are now in college. One is still with me. She's a junior. Those kids competed with me. Again, we're 4 years out of the pandemic now.
Right.
And I started this business in the middle of the pandemic. Oof. So I'm fortunate and grateful that I survived, but I did it. I was very smart the way I did it, and I was calculated. I worked out of the MR Pack during COVID. I rented from that green room. So I was fortunate enough not to dive into a lease in the middle of that. And now I'm working out of the studios on Church Street where Foxboro Ballet Academy is. Eve and I are good friends, so we share that space. So there's 2 programs. Right now I have a traditional program where the kids come once a week. They take all 3 styles. That's something with me that they have to do. It's kind of a non-negotiable. And one might be, shy away at the fact that they have to take a class, but I'm in the business of creating well-rounded dancers. So when the 7-year-old walks in, this is what you take. You take tap, jazz, ballet, and then with that, we move on to the different branches. So they take ballet, and then we explore lyrical and contemporary, and then jazz. They offer, I'll go into hip hop and et cetera. So I do that with my minis right now. I have 9 minis, ages 7 to 10. And then fortunately, I actually have a whole class of high schoolers. Which typically, when you open a studio, you don't really get high schoolers. You get all the little kids.
Right.
Right. And then the high schoolers are all kids who are finishing out their dance story, I would say. It's a mix of kids who, either grew up dancing and stopped dancing for whatever reason and felt comfortable enough to get back into it at Studio G. So I have a couple seniors, I have juniors, I have sophomores, I have freshmen. So that's really fun because although it's a mixed class, it's my job choreographically to make everybody blend. And that process is my favorite process because that's a true choreographer. Of course, you would never want a child to be in a class that's above their capabilities or even for that matter below. You want them to be dancing together, but the way that it's structured, it works. And people will say your kids, they haven't been dancing together for 10 years? And I'm like, nope. Some of them just joined this year. I have kids that started tap 2 years ago, and they're already dancing at a level of some of the kids that have been doing it for years because I work with that kid, and they want it. They want to get better at it. I have a lot of theater kids who love theater. They sing, they act, very involved in that, but they love dance too. And being a newer business, it's inclusive, but it's inclusive to the point where you're going to come to this class, but I'm going to make you work and get better. And they appreciate that. It's not, you just come and you learn a step 1 week and then you come back 2 weeks later. I push the kids and I have high expectations for them, but that's why I keep getting those kids because, or a kid that quit in 8th grade or 9th grade or for whatever reason. That's why that class is growing because it's a different vibe. So that's kind of the traditional program. The competitive program is definitely for the dancer who wants to take that next step in their training. It requires an additional day, but again, I'm building from the ground up. So those kids that graduated now, currently I have no kids that compete. There will be a competition team forming in the future, and then that will kind of, begin again. But with the kids that just graduated, they were there 2 days a week. One day was technique and choreography. The next day, they participated in those traditional classes. So I found a lot of success with that. And even with those 4 girls, I had been teaching 2 out of the 4 of them previously. And then those 2 joined based off they were used to dance and stopped dancing, and then they, again, felt comfortable enough to come back and finish out their dance journey. They blended quick because the way I just formulate it, it's like we're getting to it. And they danced like they had been dancing together for years. So
you really don't have students there who are just there, I'm just going to try this. They really want to dance. That's what you're telling me.
Yep.
And you have the 2 types. You probably have the ones who want to take dance further into their career, maybe,
Correct.
make a career of it. Or like you were saying, you have the ones who act, sing. Oh no, if I can dance, I got the complete package. I can go work on, theater, Broadway, whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like too. Because again, some people would say, well, you should split the kids, or you should focus on more theater dance and not, lyrical contemporary. But who's to say those kids can't try that, and those kids have, and they like that. So that's what I really like about what I have been able to create in the past 3 years, because the kids enjoy it, and you should always be able to work with everybody. That's my thing as a business owner and as a teacher. You never want to shy somebody away, because who are you to do that, in my opinion. Obviously, it takes 15 years to build overnight success. So I have studio owner friends who are like, I'm in year 30 and I'm just now meshing. I just now have my programs. Because again, at some point, you can have a class of 15 kids who aren't as serious, and then you have the class with the kids who are as serious. But it's been fun to have one class with all different levels in it and make them all look like one. That's what a true choreographer does.
That's making a team.
Yeah.
And in some performances, whether it's dance, whether it's theater, acting, you have to work as a team.
Right.
If somebody misses their mark or misses their whatever they're supposed to do at that certain point, you can throw the whole performance off.
Right.
So by giving them that opportunity, I see where you're going. That's a great idea.
Right. And then the vibe, I use the word the vibe, is just there. And I know that sounds like, what do you mean? The kids are great friends. There's no drama. There's no fight. And by the word fight, they fight for the choreography. They want to get better. But I spoke with a parent the other day who was giving me a very nice compliment. And she said something that resonated with me. And she was like, my child comes to your program because she feels that she can breathe there. And she can dance and she can have a great time and learn quality choreography and still get training. So that kind of resonated with me. And I was like, I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you get kids to want to go, and they're not worried about the stress or the fighting, and just everybody's just working together, having a great time,
right,
and learning. It's
getting back to what dance is all about.
Yeah,
it's getting back to the roots and the basics.
So, since opening the studio, has your primary goal been for dancers? What has been your primary goal for dancers in and around the area? What is the goal?
Well, I would add on to that what I had just said, to create a space for you to come and finish out what you have to do. Right? These little kids that I have now, they're like from scratch. Those kids started with me. So every week those kids come in, they're learning, they're getting better. When they take the intensive in the summer, I have 5 days with them to get them up another level or 2. And they always come back wanting more because I've structured it where it's not quite their entire life. They can do theater, they could do basketball, they could do a season of cheer, and they can still dance, but I offer enrichment classes. So I say, all right, you're coming for an hour and a half, right? But we have to get better, right? So I'm gonna offer a 6-week ballet technique class on Friday. All the kids sign up because they wanna do more, but it still allows them to do their other activities. And for me, that's how I want to run my business. Because I was a kid once, I didn't have to choose. I ended up choosing dance, but I was able to do X, Y, and Z. And I liked that aspect of it. And of course, once you start realizing, this is what I want to do, like I feel as though 10 to 12 is the age when you really see the kids say, all right, I've done all these different things. This is what I'm passionate about. I want to go the distance with it. Then they say, what can I do more of? Then you say, okay, we're going to add another day. You're going to take extra technique classes, turns, leaps, and jumps, a conditioning class, and this will be your choreography day. But even once they're to that point, I have a very calculated approach where they won't get burnt out, or they'll still be able to have a high school experience. Because again, working in the high school, that's something that I'm very big on too. I see it all the time. All the athletes, not even dance related, football players, basketball players, lacrosse players, it does control their life at some points. And when you're putting 100% into something, you want to be good at it. You want to see the results. You want to feel success. And I can fully understand that. But also too, kids are kids. And between social media and technology and just the time we're in, so much is taken away from kids that I will always be a full believer in letting the kids be kids, but still maintaining the quality in the activity that they participate in.
Yeah, they gotta have the time to, the academics, they gotta have the time to socialize, they have to have the time to just play and just have fun.
Right.
To date, if they're old enough, to do all that.
Right.
But they can still control how much they want to do for dance, which is great. That you can actually, okay, if you just want to do one day, we can do one day. If you want to do more, we add a second day. We add this. That's great.
So that's what I'm, what I'm enjoying. And again, starting from scratch, what people sometimes don't realize, and it's not necessarily for them to realize, when you're building from the bottom up, you have to adjust as you go. So again, 15 years, overnight success, even longer sometimes, you got to get in that groove and you have to trial and error it. So these little kids that I may, I'm going to offer and put it out there, they may want to do it. Am I going to jump right into it and say, all right, you're going from an hour and a half to 3 days a week? Absolutely not. No. Because the last thing I want is kids to be stressed out or parents to be like, whoa, all of a sudden this became, I don't run business like that. Because I feel as though it's a slow and gradual process. The kids are good for the amount of time that they're there, and they're great. Every week that they come in, they have a lot to improve on, but every week I'm like, whoa, that is a 12-year-old skill, and you're 9, and you just did that. I'm impressed. So, and by offering those enrichment classes, the kids take advantage of those, and the parent takes advantage of those, because they're like, this allows them to do X, Y, Z. So, yeah.
Excellent. So you also brought a video, right? Tell us a little about what we're going to see.
I did, yep. This past fall, one of my good friends who I went to college with, she's incredible. She, her career is media and communications, etc. So she is really good at video content, content creation, and I share that passion with her through my marketing degree. So we collabed this fall. She came in a couple weeks and got some content from the kids and put together a promo video. And when the promo video went out, I got huge amounts of people commenting, and they were like, this sounds like, I actually got 2 new students from it. So that one video, people get to take an inside look. And again, it was a culmination of clips from different weeks and everything. But that's what you have to do. When you start a business from scratch, you have to market.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is key, and parents talk, and you want them talking good about your business. You want them saying, my kid loves it here. It's not stressful, but they're still getting quality, things like that. I work heavily with Laura Canfield through LRC Stage Productions. I choreographed her SpongeBob production this past summer. We just finished, we did Aladdin Jr. in the fall. We just finished High School Musical 2 weekends ago, and then we'll be doing Newsies this summer. So I work with those kids. One of the kids is like, hey, I really liked working with Mr. Greg. I'd like to join the studio. So you have to market. So the video that we're about to watch is one of the promo videos we put together this fall.
All right, let's take a look at it.
All right. My name is Greg Kanelos, and I'm the owner and artistic director of Studio G Dance Company, located in Foxborough, Massachusetts.
I've seen many dancers, many talented choreographers, but his choreographer and dancers completely blew my mind.
The environment that Greg creates is so welcoming and so much fun. You learn so much, even through just a month of classes.
This is the first time Teddy's had a male dance teacher, and I think representation really makes a difference for him. He has a great role model to look up to.
Whether you're just starting your dance journey or you're picking up where you left off, Studio G is the place for you. Join us as the next generation forms.
Now I can understand why. That's a great video. I mean, it's all promotion.
Right.
It can be word of mouth, it can be videos, whatever it takes. And that's great that you're doing all the work with the choreography at the theater and everything. That's excellent.
Yep, that's very exciting.
I was going to mention that, but you beat me to it.
Yep, sorry. Always a step ahead.
That's okay. That's the way you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, do you still dance yourself, or is that just the instructing?
I dance within the studio. When I was younger, there was a time, probably when I was 9 to 11, I was like, I want to dance. I want to be a professional dancer. And then every child goes through a journey with dance. It's never a perfect journey, but as I got older, that 14 to 16 age range, I slowly started to not fall out of love with dance, but actually dancing. I was like, you know what? I'm ready for something new. And that's when I began student choreographing. And then when that hit, I was like, this is what I want to do. So I love to dance. I am actually a way better dancer now than I was as a student. And I love to dance like with the kids. Like when I'm choreographing, I do it full out with them. I do a routine in the showcase because it's exciting. The parents like to see that. They like to know, although it's about teaching and choreography, they like to know that the person you're paying and bringing your child to can still dance, can dance.
Yeah, it's not all book learning. They want to see actually, all right, do you know what you're talking about? Can you do it too?
Right, and not even still dance, because obviously those that have been doing it for years and years are such experts in the field. But it's nice to still have that aspect. So I do still dance. But I like to dance in that capacity.
Yeah. Did you do competing when you were younger?
I did.
Yeah.
Yep. But I was not full-fledged with it, and by that means is we were there 2, sometimes 3 days a week, but it was never my entire life. I was never in the studio 20, 25 hours a week. And you know, when you get older too, you take the things that you didn't do as an individual, or you did wrong that you wanted to do differently, and you apply that to your business practices. So the things that I wish I focused on more, I'm now providing for those kids. I'm making sure they have that opportunity. And not that I didn't, because I did, but perhaps I didn't take it seriously enough, or perhaps I wanted to change something or do more conventions than competitions, things like that.
Yeah, so you're doing that in your dance and also in your education, the teaching you're doing at the school.
Right.
You're basically, you realize some of the things you didn't learn or things you could do better, and you're bringing it out in the kids, which is great.
Right. And I'm very big on reflective practice too. Taking accountability for your actions is huge, and that's a life skill I teach not only in the high school but at the studio as well. You have to be accountable. If you didn't do your homework one day, that's on you. That's not on your dog eating it. That's not on your parents. That's on you. You forgot your costume. That's on you, right? Now, obviously, the 7-year-old isn't packing for themselves.
Yeah.
But you want to bring that up. You want to teach the kids at a young age accountability skills, right? So the parent is with them, but I encourage them to say, all right, you guys lay out your costumes. You forgot your shoes, that's your responsibility. And the kids are almost like, okay, all right. If you instill it at a young age, they develop those skills, so by the time they get to high school, they're like, oh, I forgot my shoes, that's on me. I totally forgot, rather than blaming somebody else.
That's a great life lesson right there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
So this is the time of the show where we say, okay, tell us where we can find out more about Studio G.
So I'm very big, again, with my business Instagram, very big on marketing. So we are on Instagram at Studio G Dance Company. We have a Facebook page. You can just type in Studio G Dance Company. We have a TikTok account, which is basically the same as the Instagram minus the pictures. And then we do have a website, which is www.studiogdancecompany.com. And you can contact me at 508-954-8518 or studiogdancecompany@gmail.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Greg, for being on the show today and telling us all about this wonderful, I love the whole dual education, the school and the dance, the two different Gregs.
Right. Well, it's exciting. It's exciting. It's great to do. I love education. I think teaching is one of the best things that you can be involved in, and just seeing the kids learn and grow from week to week, month to month, year to year is something that I always hold close.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Greg Kanelos. And that'll do it for Around Foxborough. Have yourself a great day.